First off, tangent, I want to really commend myself. And what those 2 days were for, those were for our STEAM planning. But I'm going to be here longer than this because I got observed today. What's up, y'all? It is, what is today? Today is Tuesday, September 3rd. If I sound tired or if I look tired, it is because I am. It is 6:15, and I usually do not get here until after 7. But I'm here a little early today because I need to get some stuff printed off and getting some stuff ready for this week. So first off, tangent, I want to really commend myself because this year I've not been staying late after school or getting here early to school like I was last year. Like felt like every day I was coming in early and staying late. And so this year I feel so much better. I feel a lot more energetic throughout the day. I just feel more prepared and more ready for the day than last year. And I think part of that is because I'm not staying more than I need to. What I'm doing here right now is I am printing off some different assessments. So we've been assessing for the past couple of weeks now. Obviously, we have assessments that are mandated by our district, and we've got those done already. The two main ones, the first one is iReady that we use for our math benchmarks. They took that about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they did fine on that. They'll take it again in December and then again in April or May just to see how they progress throughout the year. But we got that one out of the way. Another one that we had was our Ames Web testing that we use for reading. And there are two tests that we use for that, the ORF and the WRF. The WRF is just word reading fluency, so it's basically just sight words and sight word reading. And then the ORF is the oral reading fluency, and that is the reading passages and seeing how many words they can read in a minute. That is what we've been doing the past couple of weeks. Obviously, I still have some assessments of my own that I want to work on just to kind of see how they're doing. I don't really have a whole lot for math. For math, my biggest concern was can they count? Can they write numbers in sequence up to 20? Can they orally count up to 100? And then can they identify number patterns and number representations with symbols and things like that? So I'm not really worried about that. I had one or two that I want to keep my eye on, but other than that, they're doing fine right now. And then I also did a spelling inventory on my student, and I got this from the teacher that teaches right next door to me. I seen her doing it, and I was like, "Oh, what is that?" So basically, what it is, and I'll cover up names so that way, But all it is just saying the words to the kids and just watching them spell it. And they just write it on this paper right here. And so what you do is that you go back after they're done and you just look at what parts of the word that they got incorrect. And it breaks it into different categories. So we have initial and final consonants, consonant blends and digraphs, short vowels, final consonants, final consonant blends and digraphs. So really it's just looking at the phonics skills that they know or don't know, just to kind of see where they're at relatively easily. I also still plan on doing some running records for guided reading as well, but I think these spelling inventories are a great insight into where they might fall with that. Another assessment that I'm doing that I just printed off, we're going to be doing some sight word assessments. So I don't teach sight words whole group just because kids are everywhere with sight words, and I just feel like it's not it's not really effective. What I have is, and these were in my room when I got here, but they're just the first 200 fry words, and they're broken up into 8 sets. And so each set has 25 words, and so everybody starts on set 1, and then we just assess to see how they're doing. And I have some documents that track that as well. And I made these assessments, and so, well, I made the paper. I didn't make the actual assessments, but I don't know if you can see that. So it has the sight words, and then every time they get assessed, they write the date, and then if they get the word correct, they just leave it blank. If they get the word wrong, then they mark it with an X or highlight or however they want to do. I don't really care, but that's just to quickly let me see how well they're doing each time they get assessed. If there is a word or words that they're not missing, I know exactly which ones they are because they're the only ones that get marked. So that way, it's super quick and easy for me to see, oh, are they getting these sight words, or oh, are we doing some work, and which ones are they missing repeatedly, so we can get a little bit better with those. So after we move on from our sight words, we move to word phrases. So they go through 200 sight words, and then they go through 100 phrases. And then after we get past those phrases, they move into actual passages. The reason why I'm here so early is because I need to actually get their folders ready for the sight words. I was hoping that I would be able to get ESGI to track my sight words, but my superintendent denied my request. So, because I won't be using ESGI, I'll have to do this instead. So I'm here early this morning to go ahead and make copies of the tracking sheets to track how they're doing. I also need to start and make their folders. Luckily, I used sight word folders last year, so I'll just kind of reuse those folders, just put their names on the front of those. So that way we can kind of go ahead and get started as quickly as we can, because I'm already a little bit behind with the sight words since I did not get the ESGI software. So I'm going to go and make copies super quick, and I will catch you guys later. What's up, guys? It is Saturday, September the 7th, and I am here in my classroom to get some things done since I did not stay any day this past week. So I have 3 big things I want to get done today. The first big thing that I want to do is go ahead and move some of my kids around and get them at some new tables with some new people. I know some of you guys are probably wondering why I move them around so much. And I have 2 big reasons for that. The first big reason is because I don't like for things to be constant. I like change. I like to move things around and that kind of sort of thing. So what I do to help with that is I move them around. Now, if you've seen some of my earlier videos, or if you know me, I usually move my entire room around every couple of weeks, but I've been really good so far this year with not moving really much anything. So how you see my room is how it's been since day 1. Which is very impressive for me. We've been here for a full month and haven't moved anything yet. But I also move them around because I want them to be able to experience everyone in their class. I know that there are some times where kids are drawn to certain people, but I want to cultivate more connections with the people that they're going to be around all year long. So I try to set them with different people throughout the year, so that way they can get a feel for each other, and that way I can get a feel for them as far as how they interact within each other. So me getting some insight on who can be near somebody, who cannot be near someone, who can tolerate some different behaviors that our kids do in here. So that's kind of why I do that, is just to kind of see how they interact with each other and just getting them to experience one another. So those are my 2 big reasons why I move them around. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first and get that out of the way. The second thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be filling out progress reports because they are going home on Monday. It feels so crazy that it is already time for progress reports because I still feel like it's like the second week of school. I feel like that we've just gotten started with school and it's already time for this. Now, our progress reports are going to be looking a little bit different now than they will be the next time we send out some progress reports because, number 1, we don't have a lot of grades in our grade book. For me personally, I don't take grades on things and put them in my grade book unless there's some type of assessment, whether they're a test or a quiz or something like that. So all of the work we do through the week, like Monday through Thursday, the things that we put in our STEAM notebook, the things that we put in our reading notebook, the things we do in our writing journals, I don't really take grades on that because those are things that we're always going to be constantly going back to and fixing and changing and things like that. and I just can't keep up with all that, especially with our writing. So unless it's like a math test, a reading test, a science or social studies like assessment or culminating task, or like a finished writing piece where we've went through all the stages of the writing process and we've published our stories and all that. If it's not anything like that, I'm not taking a grade on it. This is our progress reports for our first time going home. As you can see, we focus a lot on behaviors just because it is still beginning of the school year, and I know that parents would like to be in the know of how their child is doing as far as behaviors. Now, I do use Class Dojo, and so I feel like that my parents do have a lot more sense of how their child is doing based on their dojo points and what they're getting points for or what they're getting points taken away for. But I still want to do this for them as well. And then at the bottom, we have how they're doing academically. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot of grades. I have like 3 grades for math. I have like 3 or 4 grades for reading. I have 2 grades for science, 2 for social studies, and 1 for writing. But that's about it. But I think this is good insight for first time sent home for progress reports. So I'm going to be filling that out. And then the last thing that I need to do today is I need to get our flip charts done for next week. Next week is, well, for this week. This week is a short week. We're only going to be here with kids Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday and Friday are teacher in-service days. So I'll still be here, but the kids won't. But I'm going to go ahead and get planned for that, and then I'll check in with you guys once I'm done. All right, y'all, so I'm about to head out from my classroom. I got just about everything done that I wanted to. I moved my friends around to their new spots at their new tables. I went ahead and moved their STEAM journals and their writing journals from their drawers to the correct table drawers. Also got all of my progress reports done except for 2, and that's just because I remembered that I need them in Spanish. So I'm going to work on putting those in Spanish when I get home, and then have our ELL teacher check that on Monday before I send it home just to make sure that it makes sense. I got our flip charts started. I'm not completely done with them just yet. I have some reading and stuff to add to it since we added a new story that we didn't already have plans for. So I'm going to be looking at some of that stuff and editing some things for that. But other than that, I got a lot of stuff accomplished. I even cleaned up some stuff back here. And I'm going to be taking home their sight word folder so that way I can look at and review what sight words they still need some work on and see if they need to move on to the next set if they need that. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm not coming up here tomorrow, so the next time that I will see you guys will be on Monday. What's up, guys, and happy Monday. It is September the 9th. And it is 3:45. I am here a lot longer than I wanted to be, and that is because of 2 reasons. Number 1 is I totally forgot that I said that I would help out with Invention Convention this year, so we meet every Monday after school, so I'm here because of that, and we got out at 3:30. But I'm going to be here longer than this because I got observed today. It was one of my unannounced observations. I have 3 this year since I am a new teacher. Not my first year, but I'm in that 3-year fold where you have to have those 3 observations until you go from practitioner to, I think, professional on my license, on my teaching license. So I have those 3 observations. I had my first one today, and it was amazing. Like, I cannot have wanted it to go any better because our story tied in so well with our science content that we've been learning this week, and my kids really got to show what they know with our reading, which is what my principal observed today. And again, I think it went really well. We had great discussions about the actual parts of the plant and using the actual terms. So they were really, really good on using the science terminology as well as the vocabulary from our reading book today. All that said, I have 24 hours to get a lesson plan turned in, and I know that if I go home right now, I'm going to go and I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to try to stick it out and write out this lesson plan super quick, hopefully within the next like 30 minutes, and then I can go home. What's up, guys, and happy Friday. I have to film this very quickly because my battery's about to die, and so I want to make sure that I get all this in. I do want to let you know what we've been doing the past 2 days. So as you guys know, we've had an in-service for the past 2 days, Thursday and Friday. And what those 2 days were for, those were for our STEAM planning. So these past 2 days, what we've been working on is working on what it is that we're going to be teaching for all subjects, for math, for reading, for science, social studies, all those different subject areas. What are we teaching for the next entire 9 weeks? How are they connected? And how can we teach them and show that they're connected? So what we've been doing with our STEAM plans is that we've been looking at all of our standards and breaking them down exactly what do we need to teach, exactly what do our kids need to know. The second thing we've been doing after that is we were making some overarching questions. An overarching question that covers all of our standards. Well, it covers mostly social studies and science because we do kind of teach math in isolation. But, and for reading, we can tweak that within our science and social studies. So, I guess the overarching question is mostly for science and social studies. After that, we were looking at different culminating projects and tasks in the 9 weeks that we can do, what kind of community partners we can pull in, and then just kind of mapping out what do we want to teach week by week to end with our culminating tasks. So we're actually super excited about what we're doing. I'm going to share that with you super quickly. So first I want to tell you our standards, then I'm going to tell you our overarching question, then I'm going to tell you what our end goal is. So for science, we are still working with plants, but this time we're changing it from plant structures and functions and the life cycle of it. We're moving from that into how the environment changes and how plants change to adapt to their environment. We're also going to be talking about how plants depend on external forces to survive and thrive. We're hitting one more that I'm forgetting, but it's all in the same. Oh, classifying plants by their physical characteristics. So that's all for science. For social studies, we're hitting a lot of different topics. So for social studies, we are doing maps, goods and services, producers and consumers, wants and needs, and then products and industries in Tennessee. So we're hitting a lot of stuff in that, a lot of economics, as well as geography with the maps. For math, because we teach it explicitly, we didn't really add that in there. But we did still go through and talk about what in math are we really needing to show and what are we really needing to teach them. For our reading, what we did was we looked at, well, before I get to that, what we've been doing with our science and social studies standards was looking at how that's interconnected. So with our science standards, as far as plant dependency on its environment, and then looking at what we're teaching for social studies as far as maps and cardinal directions, goods and services, wants and needs. Our big thing that we're going to be focusing on for this 9 weeks is biomes and how in different biomes, plants need different things and plants do different things to survive. And then within that, we're going to look at communities in different biomes and look at how they have different goods and services in that space. And then we're also going to look back at Tennessee in specific and look at what our goods and services are and what are our wants and needs in our own state. But our big culminating task is we're going to talk loosely about biomes, and then we are going to really pull in one main biome for each classroom. So we have 5 classrooms. We have the tundra, the desert, the ocean, the temperate deciduous forest, and then my room is going to be the tropical rainforest. And so we're super excited to, after we introduce the different biomes and things like that, really dive deep into our own biome and look at the goods and services specific to our own biome. And then plants and how what plants in our specific biome needs. And then after we spend a couple weeks on that, we're going to go around and have like a museum walk with everyone's different biomes and learn about, we know so much about ours, we can talk about ours, but then we can also hear what other people know about their own biomes as far as their wants and needs, their goods and services, their cultures within their biome. And so we feel like that is going to be so fun and so exciting with that. And then towards the end of our quarter, we are going to be making our own new plant species in a never before biome called Planetopia. So we haven't really worked out what exactly that'll look like just yet, but we do have a framework as far as it's a biome that none of us have studied yet, and then work in what plants adaptations does your plant have to survive in that biome. And so they're going to have to kind of really work on what their plant needs to survive in this new biome. And so we are so excited to get started. I am like, I cannot wait to get started, but we have to finish this quarter first. But that's what we've been spending the past 2 weeks doing. 2 weeks. That's what we've been spending the past 2 days working on. We already have about the first 4 weeks of our second quarter planned already. We have all of our books done. Like I said, with our reading, we kind of center that around our science and social studies standards. So for science, we're going to be reading Cactus Hotel, The Sunflower House. We're going to be reading different nonfiction texts about biomes in general, and then in our own classrooms we're going to read about specific biomes. For social studies, we're going to be reading Squanto's Journey to talk a little bit more about goods and services as well as Thanksgiving. And then to pull in economics, we're going to read Something Good. We're going to read Me on the Map for maps and do a lot with our Studies Weekly for social studies. And then for science, we also use Mystery Science a lot, and they have a ton of great resources for plant adaptations. So we're super excited. We are ready to rock and roll for quarter two. So that's what we've been doing. I'm going to actually stop right here just because I know there's a lot of content in here from the past 2 weeks. What to expect in next week? What to expect in next week's vlog? I'm going to talk about subs and sub plans because I will actually not be here in my classroom on Tuesday. I'll be going to another school to kind of observe how they do their STEAM and then kind of bring back some extra ideas for our school and how we can improve with our STEAM. So I'll talk about what I have planned for them, how I plan for subs, and what my sub folder looks like for that. And I'll also keep you guys updated with what we're doing in our classrooms, just like I'm updating you right now with our plants now that we've tried time number 2 for that. So everything's going great. It's been an awesome year so far, and I cannot wait to keep going with my friends this year. On that note, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.